Hi guys, I'm super excited to share my latest thrift transformation. It's a Christmas outfit which I made recently. Yes, I know it's slightly late, seeing as Christmas was 3 days ago, but I just wanted to share with you what and how I created this outfit. Starting from before with this long elongated dress and an old-fashioned bust line, through to this new trendy dress in which I made, changing the bust line and adding some new design features in which you'll see soon. So continuing on, without further ado, this is how I started. Starting with the dress draped on a mannequin, I start unpicking the dress, starting from the seams of the skirt, and considering it was taking too long using the unpicker clippers, I started just using scissors and just cutting along all the seams from the skirt through to the waistband, cutting along the edges all the way around and finishing, and just trying to maintain a clean line which is consistent, straight, and all at the same measurement. Next, I'm moving on to unpicking and deconstructing the front bust line. And so what this is just, again, cutting at the seams so that they're all detached separately. Next, I'm going to play around with creating some gathering effects. I've accidentally unpicked and clipped off some of the seams of the darts at the bust, but I'm gonna put some needles and sew it back together later on when I'm sewing. After that, I will move on to creating a drawstring, and how I've made this is using bias binding, folding it in half and sewing across on top of it so that it looks like a nice thin satin looking string. And what this will be used for later is creating a design feature of the skirt. Next, I'm going to move on to shortening the skirt at the waistline. Next, I'm going to create a slit at the skirt, and at the front of the skirt, this will soon be where I create the drawstring to be attached at. Inside the lining, I will create a tubing effect in which will be where the drawstring gets fed into. So I'm going to fold in at 0.5 and sew across it on both the left and right hand side. Next, I'm going to use a safety pin and attach it to the drawstring in which we just recently created. What we're going to do with the safety pin and the drawstring is feeding it through the tube and pulling it all the way through from the top to the bottom of the skirt. So once it reaches the bottom of the skirt, I will pull the drawstring inside through to out. And what this does is it creates a rouging, I don't know if that's the right term, or a gathering kind of effect. Next, I will move on to doing the other side, the right hand side, and just pulling the drawstring with the safety pin from the top through to the bottom of the skirt, and repeating that process until I reach the end of the skirt. Using the safety pin helps me to feel and gauge where the drawstring is being pulled at within the tube in which we had created. Next, I'm going to move on to just closing off all the open seams of the front bust area in which we had accidentally nipped from earlier on in the process. Moving on, I will create a hand stitching technique at the front of the bust so that they stay in place when we're later sewing the skirt through to the top. And what this hand sewing does is that it keeps it all in place and all secure, ready for me to create a clean finish of this top. So this front top, I'm just going to snip off all the excess fabric so that it's all a clean finish, a clean line ready for me to sew the skirt onto. Moving on, I will move on to cutting a center back line. And what this center back line will be where the zip will be placed. Because I realized the skirt was super baggy and long, I will cut off an excess part of the back so that it's a bit more fitted when I left and right sides. Ensuring that pins are put in place, this helps in keeping the fabric secure. Considering it's very stretchy, it's important to have it not move around when you're sewing it. To complete the dress, I am now moving on to adding the bias binding to the dress. Once that's done, I will need to turn it in at 0.5 at a folded edge and sewing it on the lining side. And what this does is it ensures that all the raw edges are concealed and closed off. The bias binding is a good way and easy technique in creating clean finishes at the seams. That's the end of my thrift transformation video. Here is a look of the before dress. And here's a look at the after dress. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you guys like the thrift transformation of this Christmas outfit that I've made.